So, who should you hire first, a closer or a setter? In this video, I'm going to go for exactly when you should hire an appointment setter, when you should hire a closer, and when you shouldn't, right? It's the exact same tale as what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Now, a big issue I see a lot of coaches, consultants, business owners facing is they hire at the wrong time, thinking that without actually dialing in their sales process, they can just hire a closer or a setter. It'll fix their business, it'll allow them to scale. But what ends up happening is they just come, go, they get hired, they get fired, or they just leave, not performing, and they think it's the closer or the setter's fault. So let's get straight into when you should hire an appointment setter first. Now, appointment setter is the first hire you should make in your sales team. And the reason being is because setting appointments, having conversations, and prospecting is a relatively replaceable and low leverage task. If you're doing, let's say, over 5K a month, or you have other things to focus on, last thing you should be doing is spending hours and hours every single day in the appointment setting or in the DMs or just calling people. It's not high leverage, and it's not what you should be focused on to scale the business. Okay. Now, your goal should be to buy back your time so you can focus on taking more sales calls, right? Content, or starting to run paid ads, or just creating new creative for the paid ads, service delivery, and getting client results, right? And you want to find someone who's better than you at appointment setting. Yes, you may be really good at what you do, delivering your service, but you're likely not the best at appointment setting, right? There's probably someone better. So you want to find someone who's going to get a better return than you, all right? Now, in terms of how do you know if you're ready to hire one, there's a few things you should focus on. But the first thing is you've got to have consistent daily lead flow. There's no point hiring an appointment setter if you don't have at least 20 to 30 new leads per day, because the appointment setter is going to be bored. It's not going to have anything to actually do, right? Either from organic or from paid marketing, right? Make sure that the setter can actually work and not run out of prospects. Second pointer you should look for to know that you're ready to actually hire an appointment setter is if your calendar is underbooked, but your close rate is pretty decent, right? If you've got leads, right, if you've got that sorted, your close rate is pretty decent, anything above 25 to 30%, but your calendar's underbooked, likely you probably need to get appointment setter on board, right? Because if you're struggling with getting book calls, but you have enough leads, it means you're probably not doing a good job, right? So a setter, what they can do is fill in the gap by qualifying leads, converting conversations, and turn them into bookings. So you can just focus on the sales calls even more. Right. Next one is you spend too much time prospecting. If you're spending more than 2-3 hours a day messaging leads instead of focusing on sales calls or content, paid ads, or the higher leverage tasks, then you need to hire an appointment setter. Like I said, best thing you can do when you're getting past that 5K a month mark is delegate, right? Delegate and get someone else to do the grunt work or the work that you don't want to do, that you can focus on different things. Right. Next one is something we work with our clients a lot, and it's the biggest mistake people make in the coaching space, in the service-based business space, and they don't have a proven process, right? You have to have clear scripts, systems in place, making sure that they can actually follow a repeatable process that converts leads. You can't just hire an appointment setter and say, okay, off you pop, use your knowledge to just get appointments. It's not how it works, because every offer is different. So what I would say is make sure that your process is repeatable. Make sure that you have a set process that you can use with setting appointments, a set script or a set framework that you know is going to book an appointment, right? So that when an appointment setter comes in, you can give them the process, it's repeatable, they don't have to just reinvent the wheel and do something themselves. Also, you're ready to scale, right? If your pipeline is ready to handle more calls, if you know that you're closing at a decent amount, your offer is validated, you know you can generate results, only thing you need is just more calls, right? And you've got the leads, hire an appointment setter, right? Like if you are confident you could take on more clients, you're confident you can take more calls, do it, right? Hire that appointment setter. And I have another video going through the payment structure you should focus on hiring appointment setters, but I would typically go for 3 to 5%, probably 5% on all cash collected from their sets, plus a base of $500 to $1,000. Because if you don't have a base and you have fairly low cash collected each month, an appointment setter is not going to earn much money and they're going to leave, or you're not going to hire good quality appointment setters. But the moral of the story, if you're not consistently generating 20 plus leads every single day. Focus on building the lead flow, whether it be through organic, whether it be through automated outbound, which is something we do as well, or paid ads. But let's get into the juicy stuff. Closer. How to know if you should hire a closer. Now, this is a bit more of a touchy, sensitive task, right? Because if you don't have the right systems and infrastructure in place or the right onboarding, then your closers are going to fail. And this is the exact same thing as putting glitter on a shit, right? You're not going to make it smell nicer. You're not going to make it look nicer. It's still going to be a shit. So yeah, I can't go over that one. I'm pretty proud of that one. But what systems and infrastructure do I mean? Because it's all good me saying you've got to have the systems, infrastructure, but if I don't go into depth, you guys are probably not going to know what I mean. So first one is a clear and proven sales process, right? This is pretty vague, but the founder must be closing above 25 to 30%. Reason being is because, actually, I'll get into that in a second. The founder must be closing above 25 to 30%, right? The founder must be able to close. Main issue I see a lot of coaches, consultants, service-based business is they don't really like sales. They're not that good at sales, so they just hire a closer first, even when they've not proven the sales process, right? They've not actually got a repeatable sales process like the appointment setting side of things. So you as the founder, or the founder has to be closing above 25 to 30%. If not, don't hire a closer. Simple as that. Next one, show up rate must be above 60 to 70%, right? If you're getting less than 6 people out of 10 showing up to your sales calls, you have an issue with your show up process. You have an issue with your sales process. You need to fix that before getting a closer on board. Because if they're getting so many calls booked into their calendar, but not many people are showing up, they're going to leave. They're not going to be happy. Next one is 70+% of leads must be qualified. You have to have these leads qualified, right? Because if they're not, you're going to get some annoyed closers and you're going to be wasting time. Okay. CRM and data tracker for follow-up. Follow-up 30-40% as I go on in every single video of my follow-up. And sorry, my income when I was a closer was from follow-up. Right. So if you don't have a good CRM, if you don't have a clean CRM or data tracker, you're not going to be able to get this money from follow-up. Last one, like I've gone over, repeatable onboarding process. Look, if you can't repeatably show a closer or a setter what to do, have SOPs in place, have training in place every single time you onboard them, then it's going to be carnage. They're not going to know what to do. And this is the exact same process we go through when we take on clients with systemized scaling. We build them out the sales process, the onboarding process, close rate, lead quality, show up rate, follow-up process. Once that's built out and you're closing at 30 to 50%, you've got warm leads, you've added 30% in monthly cash, we onboard a closer, we guide you in terms of how to actually structure the onboarding. Then we build out the sales process, right? In terms of the infrastructure, automations, data tracker. Just before I move on, if any of you want our team to build your vehicle into a top tier sales process, have closers and setters hired in place for you and onboarded for you, or to have me personally help train your reps, then book a call below and check out the free training going for exactly what we do. On to the next part. So with closers, how to know if you're actually ready to hire one, right? Lots of people get this wrong. You've got to be booking at least 25 plus sales calls a month. And I'd say this is probably on the low end. If you're not booking consistent calls, I'd say 5 to 10 calls every single week, then your closer's not going to be able to earn the money they want and they're going to leave, right? So a closer thrives with consistent opportunities. You've got to make sure you have that for them. If you don't have that, focus on building lead flow or just hiring a setter first. Second one is you're closing at a consistent 25+% closing rate. And the reason being is the business owner has something called the founder syndrome. I forgot for a second. Founder syndrome, where essentially they can sort of get away with anything. They can get away with a mediocre pitch, mediocre sales process, mediocre framework, and still close at decent amounts because they've got the social proof, they're on the marketing. Meaning, if the founder closes at 20 to 25% max, a closer is going to close at 10, 15, maximum 20. All right. So if you're not closing at a decent amount, your closer's not either. They're not going to just fix things. They're not going to just come in and just get you to 100K a month. It's not how it works. You've got to focus on the vehicle first and the sales process first. Next one is sales calls are taking too much of your time. If you're spending plus 10 hours a week, hire a closer. If you are booked out on your calendar 3 days in advance, right? If your calendar's booked out 3 days in advance maximum, hire a closer, right? Because you're packed out. You're generating 15 to 20K a month consistently. Reason why this is important is because your closer's got to earn money. 10% commission of 5 to 10K, it's not going to be enough for them. Like, they're not going to stay. You're not going to attract good quality closers. So you're going to make sure you're doing at least 15 to 20K. So you can maybe give them a base, or you could just get maybe a decent closer for 2K, 3K, 4K a month. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. You've got to have predictable lead flow and systems. So look, to wrap things up, you should be booking 4 to 5 calls a week. Show rate should be above 70%. And if you don't have a strong appointment setter or system to qualify leads, then you shouldn't hire a closer. So if you guys want to build out your sales process, build out the onboarding, hire a closer and a setter the right way, then check out the free training below in the description going over our process if you want to work with us, and potentially see you soon. Don't make these mistakes and crush it, Bash.